Okay, so we all like to think about being rich, right? But what does that even mean?
Right. It's not just about having a big bank account. There's actually like different categories of how people get there and what they do once they are.
And that's kind of what I love about this deep dive.
Hmm.
We're going through this Lux.com video that breaks down 15 and a bonus types of wealthy people.
It's fascinating stuff, right? I mean, it really gets into not just the money, but like the mindsets behind it.
Totally. It's almost like a field guide to spotting them in the wild, you know? Like, are we talking just got rich, flashing their cash, or someone more low-key?
Well, let's start with those just got rich types, shall we? The ones who went from 0 to 60 in a blink of an eye, maybe a tech IPO, or they went viral on TikTok.
And they haven't quite wrapped their heads around the fact that money can disappear just as fast as it came in.
Yeah.
The video showed that $20,000 couch someone bought on a dare.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic example of sudden wealth without a financial foundation, right? It's like building a mansion on a sandcastle.
So true. You need that solid financial literacy no matter how much money you're bringing in. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with a lot of very expensive mistakes.
Precisely. You see this all the time. It's that lifestyle creep. Your income goes up, and suddenly you're spending more without even realizing it.
And then you're that person buying premium everything when you used to be happy with a $2 cup of coffee.
It's about building those healthy money habits early on, no matter where you are on your wealth building journey.
Speaking of journeys, it's interesting how the video contrasts those just got rich folks with the real estate rich,
Yeah.
right? It's like slow and steady wins the race.
It does, doesn't it? They're playing the long game, building your portfolio brick by brick. Not as flashy, maybe, but definitely built to last.
Then on the flip side, you've got the trading and hedge fund rich, all about high risk, high reward, and maybe a little too much caffeine.
Oh, absolutely. Remember that part about hedge fund offices needing those industrial-sized coffee machines? And, well, let's just say caffeine isn't the only thing keeping them going. High stress, high stakes. It makes you wonder about the toll it takes.
For sure. But then again, not all wealth is earned, is it? What about those who are basically born on third base? The royal family rich, the daddy's money trust fund kids.
Ah, yes. The age-old question. Does inherited wealth make you more likely to be, well, let's just say, a bit out of touch with reality?
Right. The video even pointed out how it can impact family dynamics. You've got your entitled ones who think the world revolves around their trust fund.
And then you have those who feel the weight of their family's legacy, like a responsibility to do something meaningful with it. It's a fascinating stuff, isn't it? How our upbringing shapes our relationship with wealth. It makes you wonder how different upbringings shape how we see money, you know? And speaking of different perspectives, the video then goes into those who are driven by passion, like they're on a mission. You've got your tech rich, your save the world philanthropists, and then the always hustling serial entrepreneurs.
It's funny. When I think tech rich, I don't picture those extravagant parties. I'm picturing someone up at 3 a.m., glued to their laptop, convinced their new app is going to change the world.
It's that drive, isn't it? That almost obsessive need to build and innovate. The video even compared them to surfers chasing the next big wave. But it also mentioned how some might be faking it till they make it in that world. Intense stuff.
Oh, totally. That fake it till you make it thing can be motivating, but when is it too much?
Yeah.
How much pressure is there in those fields to look successful, even if you're not quite there yet?
It's a good question, and it's something a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in tech, deal with. It's like this thing with social media now, it's easy to make your life look perfect, even when it's not. So true, but then you have the opposite. The save the world philanthropic rich. They've got all the money, but they seem more interested in making a difference than buying a fleet of sports cars. So is it pure altruism or just a different way of showing off?
That's the million-dollar question, right? The video definitely made me think about what motivates philanthropy. Is it genuine generosity? Or maybe a desire for recognition? It's probably a bit of both.
Then there's the serial entrepreneur rich. Those are the ones who are always starting something new, constantly chasing that thrill of building a business. It's like they're addicted to the process itself more than anything.
It's that excitement of the challenge, that feeling of creating something from nothing. And honestly, that kind of energy can be contagious. They inspire others to dream bigger, take risks. I can see that.
Yeah.
But when do they stop? Is there ever a point where they say, okay, I've built enough companies, time to relax on a beach and learn the ukulele?
Some do. Eventually, they want to enjoy the results of all their hard work, maybe mentor other entrepreneurs. But for some, that drive to create never goes away.
It reminds me of that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. But what if your passion is literally starting businesses? which honestly does sound kind of awesome. But then let's talk about the under-the-radar folks. The can't tell rich, they've got millions stashed away, but would rather blend in than stand out.
Yeah, they're the quiet millionaires next door, living simply, valuing experiences over showing off their wealth. You know, the ones more likely to drive a sensible car than a fancy sports car.
And probably judging you a little if you order guacamole at Chipotle. But honestly, there's something refreshing about that kind of understated wealth. It's like they've figured out that true happiness doesn't come from material possessions.
Exactly. It's about finding contentment without constantly needing more and more stuff. And they often end up using their wealth to make a real difference in the world without needing any recognition for it.
Quietly changing the world, one anonymous donation at a time. I love that.
Right. It's pretty inspiring. But on the other end of the spectrum, we've got the all-in rich. They're the gamblers, the high-stakes investors, always willing to risk it all.
Oh yeah, the ones who thrive on that adrenaline rush, even if it means potentially losing everything. The video even included gold diggers in this category. A bit harsh, don't you think?
It does make you wonder about the role of ambition and power dynamics in relationships, especially when money is involved. But maybe it's not about judging, but more about recognizing that some people see everything, even love, as a calculated risk.
And when you put it that way, it's kind of relatable.
Yeah,
Haven't we all taken a chance on love, even if the stakes weren't as high as a prenuptial agreement?
totally. It all comes back to how comfortable we are with risk, right? Some people love uncertainty, while others need predictability. And that affects everything from our money decisions, to our careers, to our relationships.
It really does make you think about risk and reward, right? Like
Yeah.
you playing it safe for a slow and steady climb or going all in on a risky move.
Absolutely. And sometimes that risk pays off big time, especially when it comes to building wealth. Which reminds me, we can't forget about those who've cracked the code of turning knowledge into cash. The I wrote that book rich and the motivational speaker rich.
Ah, yes, the masters of turning their wisdom, or at least a good story, into a lucrative empire. It's fascinating how they tap into our desire for self-improvement, for those secrets to success.
And it makes you think, where's the line between genuine advice and, well, really good marketing? The video even called out Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad, poor dad guy.
Right. Did he get rich from real estate or from telling everyone how to get rich from real estate? It's like next level entrepreneurship.
But speaking of entrepreneurs, what about those always chasing the next big thing? The video calls them the crypto AI insert the next trend here rich. A constantly evolving category for sure. They're the early adopters, always looking for that next wave to ride, even if it crashes and burns.
It's a wild mix of tech skills, risky investments, and a whole lot of FOMO, right? You just know they're constantly checking market trends, terrified of missing out.
And the thing is, in those fields, what's groundbreaking today might be obsolete tomorrow. You got to be able to handle that kind of uncertainty. But you know what else this video made me think about? Those who are on their way to joining these ranks, the ones putting in the work, the soon-to-be rich.
Ooh, the ones hustling in the background, always learning and growing. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Maybe some of our listeners are in that category right now.
Maybe, and that's kind of inspiring, right? Because it shows that wealth isn't some exclusive club you're born into. It's about mindset. It's about taking action.
So it's not just about the number in your bank account, is it? It's about the journey, the choices you make, and the impact you have.
Exactly. It's about defining success on your own terms and then going for it. It's about using whatever wealth you have, whether it's money or knowledge or skills, to create something meaningful.
And you know what? That's something we can all aspire to no matter where we are on our own wealth-building journey.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll be back for another deep dive in the future, exploring even more facets of this complex and ever-evolving topic.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep chasing those dreams, whatever they may be.